Before the video begins, I want to make a quick announcement. My good friend Reed, also known as RadAustin27, is selling these awesome zombie posters down in the description. If you want to check them out, a link is down below. Be sure, though, to use the coupon code JJ25. A link is down below. What's going on, YouTube? My name is John, and welcome to another wonderful zombies commentary. Today we are continuing our review of Tag Der Toten that we did in the last video. If you didn't see it last video, we had discussed everything that Tag Der Toten did well. That was a very positive review of the map, and today we are continuing our review, but this time being a little bit more negative. We're going to be explaining everything that went wrong in Tag Der Toten, or everything that could have been made better. If you want to see the previous part, I'll put a link to it in the description, but one thing I should note before we jump into this review is that we will not be discussing the ending. This is because I know the ending is incredibly divisive and will take up a majority of the conversation. While personally I like the ending, I know that much of the community doesn't. So I would have felt like putting it in the best category would have been a mistake, because then everybody would have argued with me about it in the comments. And if I put it in this video as a bad thing, while everybody might agree with me, it doesn't actually go by my true thoughts on the map. So we're just not touching the ending in this video with a 10-foot pole. Without further ado, let's jump into everything that Tag Der Toten did wrong. So the first thing that Tag Der Toten did wrong is the fact that we have 2D animated cutscenes. Everybody wants 3D CGI cutscenes, and I agree with them. I think they look really good. Treyarch's gotten really good at making them. They kind of became the standard for the zombie storyline, and it wasn't until Alpha Omega that we got this mildly wonky 2D animated style. I'm not a huge fan. I actually think that some scenes, like for example the scenes of the Great War, might not look as good in 3D CGI, or at least it would be way too difficult to recreate, so it's better to do them in 2D. But like when you're just having shots of our characters hanging around talking, I would have liked to have seen that in 3D CGI, especially for the final zombies map. Like, I know this is just a gripe with the ending to zombies as a whole between Alpha Omega and Tag Der Toten, but you know, I think the last Ether map of all time should have had 3D CGI cutscenes, and that's gonna, I think, forever just kind of be a blemish on the way that zombies ended. And because Tag Der Toten is the map that ended the Ether storyline, it bears the brunt of that criticism. The next thing I don't like about Tag Der Toten is the fact that we have so many remakes. I mean, quite frankly, you can call Black Ops 4 Call of Duty Remaster Ops 4. This game is like the Treyarch All-Star game, and this map is no exception. Much like the CGI cutscenes, this is a problem that plagued the last batch of zombies maps as a whole. You know, we haven't had an original Ether map, you know, set in a brand new location since Garad Crovy. It's really been that long. Since Garad Crovy, we've had Zombie Chronicles, Blood of the Dead, Classified, Alpha Omega, Tag Der Toten, all based on old locations. And I knew what we were getting into when we entered Tag Der Toten. We knew it was going to be a remake for a while. Call of the Dead had been the rumor, and it just seemed to fit the trend that every previous map was a remake, so why wouldn't this map be a remake? But, oh man, I'm just tired of it. I also think, much like the 3D CGI cutscenes, it would have been nice to have ended your zombie storyline in a brand new original location. Maybe London, like they had teased for years. Maybe we can go back to Argotha, but rather than it be your Argotha with like all the other maps around it like we had in Revelations, which was basically a clip show, it's actually in like an area, a part of Argotha where like the keepers live, like some mystical Argothan temple or something like that. That would have looked really cool, I bet, and they could have had a lot of fun with that and gotten creative. Instead, that they kind of just had to build off what they already had in Call of the Dead, and they did a good job by creating some new areas. You have the labs and you have the dock, but most of it is pretty much the same. You know, I play this map like I play Call of the Dead, which is to train in front of the lighthouse, and I've done a little bit of training in the labs. You can do that. It's really, you might as well just play it like you play Call of the Dead, and that's the problem with these remakes. You know, it has a bunch of new features, but at the end of the day, it's still Call of the Dead with a new coat of paint. The next thing I don't like about Tag Der Toten is Victus. I personally can't get into them. I know some people are happy to have them back, but they're just not my cup of tea. I personally find them annoying. Their quotes are repetitive and uncreative in my opinion. They're playing off stereotypes, but in a way that's not funny. Like, I will hear a quote and I'll think to myself, oh, they're saying that quote because they're based off of this type of person, or they're based off that type of person, so of course they're gonna say this type of weird thing that nobody would ever say in real life. And sure, the original characters are based off stereotypes, but in truth, some stereotypes are funnier than others. Like, let's be honest, the stereotypical drunk Russian in Nikolai is a much funnier character than the stereotypical nerd in Marlton. Like, whoever hears the nerdy character and goes, oh man, that's funny, he's talking about his calculator right now, but he's being chased by zombies. Nah, it's just not funny, it's annoying, and I feel this is a problem with the Victus characters. You know, zombies likes to take a character, give it a stereotype, and run with that stereotype. And what they've done with Victus is given them stereotypes that just aren't entertaining. And they could have had some fun, for example, by taking Stuhlinger and making him the stereotypical conspiracy guy. And that's kind of what they were going for, but then his conspiracies end up being true because the voices in his head are Richthofen. So it just, like, it doesn't work. I also think it would have been much more satisfying to have the OG crew actually be in Tag Der Toten. Like, I'd rather have seen Victus running around in Alpha Omega. I think they deserved one little send-off map like they have in this one, but Alpha Omega, the map before the finale, would have been much better so that it could be Primus and Ultimus to be there actually on the front lines saving the day. Another issue I have with this map are the wonder weapons, and I know I said the wonder weapons were a positive on that map, but the positive with the wonder weapons is that we have a variety of them, and they're easily upgradable. I can toss them in the Pack-a-Punch. The issue, though, is that some of them aren't very good, most notably the Tundra Gun. So the Tundra Gun isn't a brand new weapon, it's basically just a reskinned Thunder Gun with the effects of the Winter's Howl. It's like they recombine two wonder weapons. And you'd think that if the map isn't going to have any brand new original wonder weapons created from scratch, then the ones based off old wonder weapons would be better than their counterparts. But no, the Thunder Gun is better than the Tundra Gun. The Tundra Gun, like, why does it have splash damage? That's really annoying, and it's actually caused me to down on multiple occasions. It's so lame that you have these wonder weapons in the map that aren't as good as their original counterparts. I'm not sure what they were thinking there. Like, if you're gonna make wonder weapons based off old ones, make them improvements on the originals, much like how the ray gun marked like 4, 5, 6, whatever they were, Y, X, are much better than the original ray gun Mark II. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of complaints with this map is the lack of Dr. Monty. I've spoken about this at length on Zombros as well as in various videos, but I hate the fact that Monty isn't in this map at all. Like, I personally didn't love him as a villain. I felt he was kind of shoehorned in, but I just think if they're going to go through the trouble of making him this sudden main antagonist, that he might as well be the main antagonist on your final map. Like, he murders Maxis and decides that, he's good. He doesn't need to go stop the crew from sending him to the dark ether. He's just going to chill in the house and have a cup of tea and enjoy his last few hours sitting next to Maxis' half-eaten corpse that he killed. You know, it's just lame. What is Monty doing in this map? We have no idea. Has he just given up? Does he not know where the rest of the crew is, so he's searching but he can't find them? Like, at minimum, they could have thrown in a few quotes to kind of explain why Monty isn't there, but they don't. And it would have been really nice to incorporate him maybe into the final sequence as we're charging up the Agarthan device. Like, maybe we have Monty, he's coming in there and he's like, I need to stop you, I'm gonna throw everything I have at you. So he's sending Margwas and a bunch of zombies, and as we continue to defeat those zombies, you hear him getting ever more desperate, and he's like, no, stop, I don't want to be banished to the dark ether, I want to live just like you guys, please stop, blah blah blah. He's trying to deceive them or do everything he can. He's getting desperate, and you can hear the desperation in his voice, but no, we get none of that. I think it would have been a really nice addition to this map. I think it would have given a little bit more character depth to Dr. Monty, but instead we get none of that, and he's just absent. And I've said this a few times, but my suspicion is that he's absent from the map because of budget cuts, and maybe they had to do a little bit of reworking to their story, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, I think Tag Der Toten really misses the mark in terms of villains by not including Monty in this map. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to wrap things up for my negative review of Tag Der Toten. That is everything in this map that I personally did not like. Now, overall, I'd say I like this map as a whole. I think the positives outweigh the negatives. There's more positives. I think the positives in this map are greater than the negatives. Like the things like not having Monty, I get over, and I can eventually just mute Victus, so I don't really care that much about them. But those are definitely gripes. I would say, though, I had an easier time writing the positive video than I did the negative video. So if that goes for any signal of the overall quality of the map, I'd say it's pretty good. Anyway, that's going to wrap things up for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, maybe subscribe for more. Tell me in the comments below, what don't you like about Tag Der Toten, or what points did I bring up that maybe you disagree with? I'd love to hear them and read them. I'm going to go, though. Have a wonderful day, and bye.